The first time we see Evil Morty in the series is in Season 1, Episode 10, titled Close Rick Counters of the Rick Kind. In this episode, Rick is brought to the Citadel and accused of killing 27 other Ricks from various dimensions. He insists he didn't do it and sets out on a mission to find the real killer. His investigation leads him to a secret lair where countless Mortys are strapped to the exterior, suffering in agony. Inside the lair, Rick and Morty are captured by someone known as Evil Rick. This is when we first see Evil Morty, standing beside Evil Rick as his apparent sidekick. Evil Rick straps Rick C-137 to a table, announcing that he plans to scan his brain, steal his knowledge, and then kill him. Meanwhile, Evil Morty takes Morty to a prison cell full of other Mortys. As Morty is being locked in, he suggests they all team up and escape. After a motivating speech from our Morty, the imprisoned Mortys unite, break out, and pile onto Evil Rick, ultimately defeating him. During this, Evil Rick yells,
"Do your worst, you little bat! Kill me! Do it! Do it!"
odd behavior for someone trying to avoid death, but there's a reason for it, which we'll get to shortly. Once Evil Rick is taken down, members of the Citadel arrive to collect the Mortys.
What's gonna happen to all these Mortys?
They'll go back to their families, attend school regularly, play video games, date girls. Poor little Rickless bat.
While investigating Evil Rick's body, two Citadel Ricks discover that he was being remotely controlled. One of them comments on recognizing the tech.
I've seen this technology before. This Rick was being controlled remotely, puppeteered by somebody else. This is the receiver. Yeah, but where's the transmitter?
It turns out, Evil Morty was the one controlling him via tech hidden in his eye patch. He quietly removes the eye patch, blending in with the other Mortys boarding spaceships back to their homes. But why did Evil Morty do all this? Controlling a Rick, torturing Mortys, and killing 27 Ricks? The answer lies in his desire for freedom and revenge. In Season 7, Episode 5, Unmortrickin, we get a glimpse into Evil Morty's past. He's seen arguing with his Rick after yet another unpleasant adventure, this time involving traveling up someone's butt. Evil Morty returns from the mission with some crystals, possibly death crystals, which show the many ways a person could die. These were introduced in Season 4, Episode 1, Edge of Tomorty, Rick Die Rickpy. Whether or not they're death crystals, this adventure seems to be the final straw. Evil Morty angrily calls Rick,
You're basically just a giant 8-year-old.
We're not doing this anymore!
starting a heated argument. He offers Rick a drink and goes to his room to work on the eye patch. By the time he's finished, Rick is drunk. Evil Morty uses this opportunity to implant the remote control tech into Rick's brain. Afterward, Evil Morty brings this controlled Rick to the Citadel's Morty Adoption Agency. Strangely, this Rick now has a scar on his mouth, although the one Evil Morty initially controlled didn't. Since the brain implant shouldn't cause a mouth scar, it's possible that Evil Morty controlled multiple Ricks, and Evil Rick may have been a different one entirely. At the agency, the clerk says,
An eye patch. You know how we feel about pirates.
this references Season 3, Episode 10, The Rick, Chury, and Morty Date, where Rick C-137 reveals he's afraid of pirates. Evil Morty kills the clerk, and a police officer, Rick, hacks the agency's computer and deletes his file, removing himself from the adoption system and preventing future abuse by other Ricks. Interestingly, his adoption photo shows him frowning, unlike other smiling Mortys. He's clearly been different for a long time. Evil Morty begins traveling across dimensions, killing Ricks and collecting Mortys, the same ones who ended up imprisoned at the lair in Season 1. While back at the lair, Evil Rick attempts suicide, unable to endure the loss of control. This is why he welcomed death when the Mortys rebelled. But Evil Morty didn't just kill Ricks for revenge. He also scanned their brains to steal their knowledge, fuel for a grand plan that would shatter reality itself and liberate him from Rick's control. While undercover among other Mortys, Evil Morty spots a newspaper announcing the first Citadel election. He decides to run for president. In Season 3, Episode 7, The Ricklantis Mix-Up, we revisit this arc. Mortys are mocked and underestimated. His campaign manager urges him to quit, but Evil Morty refuses. During the debate, the other candidates mock him, but he stands firm, arguing the real divide isn't between Ricks and Mortys, but between those who support the Citadel structure and those who don't. He exposes how Mortys are brainwashed, turned against each other, and how Ricks are also exploited in factories. He ends his speech with,
A message from the Ricks and Mortys that believe in this Citadel to the Ricks and Mortys that don't. You're outnumbered. Holy shit.
His popularity skyrockets. He fires his campaign manager and climbs to the top of the polls. During an interview, he avoids identifying his original Rick, claiming he views all Ricks as his own. After being handed secret documents, the campaign manager attempts to assassinate Evil Morty, but fails. Meanwhile, the Citadel's problems persist. Police brutality, corruption, and indoctrination. One Morty even dismisses the idea of a wishing portal, calling it a pit for broken dreams. When he finally makes a wish for change, Evil Morty wins the election. Now president, Evil Morty meets the Citadel's deep state, a group of Ricks who secretly control everything. One claims Evil Morty has no real power. Evil Morty asks those who agree to raise their hands, then has them all killed. His guards execute the former campaign manager by ejecting him into space. In contrast, the honest Rick cop is released, perhaps as a reward for his integrity. Files the campaign manager received are blown open, revealing Evil Morty controlling another Rick while dressed in a suit, suggesting he manipulated multiple Ricks beyond Evil Rick. In Season 5, Episode 10, Rick Mirai Jack, Evil Morty invites Rick C-137 and Morty Prime to dinner. When Rick refuses to explain the Central Finite Curve, Evil Morty traps them and shows them brain scan data. He mocks Rick for labeling the controlled Rick as evil, and explains how Mortys are cloned, exploited, and discarded across dimensions. After revealing the horrors of Morty factories and DNA harvesting, Evil Morty lets them escape. But when Rick throws a guard through a portal and the guard dies, it becomes clear Evil Morty hacked every portal gun. As panic erupts across the Citadel, Evil Morty begins draining portal fluid, killing Ricks en masse. He reveals the truth. Rick built the Central Finite Curve to isolate dimensions where he is always the smartest. Evil Morty wants to escape it and be free.
And I'm leaving it. That's what makes me evil. Being sick of him. If you've ever been sick of him, you've been evil too.
He hacks Operation Phoenix, preventing Rick consciousness backups from saving them. He uses their blood to power a drive that breaks the curve. He offers Morty Prime a chance to join, but Morty declines. Evil Morty launches himself into a black hole, finally free. In Unmore Trickin', Evil Morty is living peacefully outside the Central Finite Curve until he's attacked due to multiverse instability. Rick and Morty's hunt for Rick Prime caused the disturbance. Evil Morty visits them.
You're right. I don't live here, which is why it's insane that you're still bugging me.
He reluctantly helps them find a lead, knowing Rick Prime possesses the Omega device, a weapon that can erase anyone from existence. Evil Morty joins their mission, not wanting to be a victim again. During the fight, Rick and Evil Morty are defeated, but Morty Prime stuns Rick Prime. Evil Morty had secretly switched places with Morty Prime, confusing Rick Prime. He scans Rick Prime's brain and deletes his Operation Phoenix backups. Rick Prime offers to make Evil Morty his sidekick, but Evil Morty refuses. Instead of killing Rick Prime, he drags in Rick C-137, letting him finish the job. Evil Morty destroys the Omega device and coldly tells Rick,
How's it feel? Better? No? Exactly the same? Yeah, it always does.
This suggests Evil Morty has seen many Ricks get their revenge, only to feel empty. Was he manipulating Rick C-137 the entire time? Possibly. The eye patch tech controlling multiple Ricks, the Omega device, all point to Evil Morty playing a long game. Further evidence appears in Season 4, Episode 6, Never Ricking Morty, where a villain named Story drains Rick's memories. One sacred story reveals a giant army of Ricks and other characters, led by Evil Morty, all controlled by his eye patch, preparing to destroy Rick and Morty. And just when it seems hopeless...
Remember, there's always someone there for us.
Who?
My best friend and personal savior, Jesus Christ.
What?
Yes, they are saved by Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I mean, some people actually like that stuff. It seems kind of cynical. I just don't like taking cheap shots, you know?
Cheap shots? Morty, we were literally saved by Jesus Christ. Tell me in any way how that's offensive.
This was a little confusing, but I guess it brought us closer together, you know? Tested our demons, made us believe in ourselves more than ever.
Yeah, you're right, Morty.